Hi there and welcome back. Now, most amateur golfers spend most of their time working on complicated in-swing moves and really overlook the importance of fundamentals in the golf swing. Spending all this time working on these complicated moves is actually counterproductive because most of the time it's the fundamentals and the way that they're set up. It's making it very difficult for them to make those moves, and meaning they're moving in a way such as coming over the top or swinging it too far on the inside or not being able to start the downswing with their legs. A lot of the time that comes down to fundamentals. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And today we have a real life example. We have Ty, who sent in his swing on Instagram. We're going to do a swing fix on his swing. He says his backswing is in a pretty good shape right now, but he's struggling a little bit with his downswing. So let's see if we can uncover what is going on in the setup and why it's making that downswing difficult. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so when we look at Ty's swing here, we can see that he actually does take it back okay. And he gets it up into a pretty decent position at the top. It's fairly on plane. However, we can see that the club face is quite open. And then as we look into the downswing, we can see that everything is all arms as he starts his transition. As he starts his downswing, it's all arms. The body stalls. He gets into quite a weak impact position. And then the arms pull him through, and the body and the legs and the lower body and the feet just kind of react to that and just follow through into the swing. So we can see that he's not going to be able to hit the shots as far as he'd like or as consistent as he'd like, because he's very much arm dominant, especially on the way down, and it can be very hard for him to create the correct angles at impact, to put a lot of pressure on that golf ball. So we have to look into why that is and what we can do to actually help him start to hit the ball better. Now, he knows he needs to start the downswing more powerfully with his legs and the correct sequence, then moving up into the body, into the arms and hands, and into the club at the last second so that he can pressurize that golf ball. But there's a couple of things going on in his setup that are making things difficult. Now, we also, first things first, we can see that he gets that club very open on the way back. So the club face being open, he's going to have to do something on the way down to really shut that face off. And if we look at the grip, we can see that it's quite palmy, quite weak on the left hand. That's not going to help with that open club face very much, gets it rolled open very early. So the first thing we have to do for him in the fundamentals is fix that grip so that he can have better control of that club face. So we can see that he has it in a grip kind of like this, where the logo on the glove is pointing down towards the range or his target line, and then the right hand's okay. It's pretty weak as well, but the problem with this is this grip is going to be very much wanting to open that club face. It's going to be quite hard for him to get it closed. Everything he's going to do is going to lead to an open club face in the golf swing. So we need to get him the opposite forces grip so that he can control that club face better. That's the first thing. So what we want to see more of is that he can get it into the fingers on his lead hand and wrap over, so he's got a much stronger left hand or lead hand. And then he can pretty much have that right hand exactly where it is. That's okay, because we can have opposite forces. So we've got strong on this side, weak on this side. Both hands are trying to pull the club either way, so it's opposite forces, which is going to really help him stabilize that club face, and therefore we can keep the club more square on the way back and obviously on the way through once he learns to sequence it correctly. The second thing we got to look at is his setup posture. So he's actually quite close to the golf ball, and therefore a lot of his pressure goes back onto his heels, okay? So when that happens, the pressure's on the heels. We don't have much balance from there. I mean, if you were going to jump as high as you could, you wouldn't jump off your heels. You'd be jumping off the balls of your feet. That's where you're going to be able to produce the most power. So that's going to come into the downswing and the sequence of the downswing and trying to get the legs to work first. So he's very much way too close. Then he pulls it back. The club gets a little offset here, or it gets a little flat here. You can see it's quite shallow. Then from there he just starts with the legs, all the balance is on the heels, so everything's going to bring him round, through and through. So we got to get better balance in that setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him the setup drill. So we start with our feet together, leg straight, back straight, club out in front like this, making sure that he has that grip. Then from there we are going to bend from the hip, and you can see there I'm a little too far away, so I'm going to move in a little closer. From there then it's the two steps. So let's focus on mid irons now. I would recommend that he'd focus very much on a mid iron or a short iron or even a wedge, as that's going to be easier for him to get the ball in the air. Then once he takes his two steps, it's softening the legs and making sure that the balance is on the balls of the feet. That's him in a great setup. So from grip and setup, he is now going to be able to build the swing that he wants. Where he was set up before and the way he was gripping it before was very weak, and it was going to be very difficult for him to get the correct sequence on the way down. And that's where his problem is. He does not sequence correctly. He's all arms on the way down, so it's going to be very inconsistent with direction and with power and distance and the pressure that he can put on that golf ball. So once he's worked on his setup, okay, and his grip, then he can come in to start working on the golf swing. Now, he says he's worked a lot on his backswing, and yes, we can see that the club stays outside on the takeaway. That's very good. I would like him to work on that a little bit more. So this sequence of events that I'm going to talk through in the swing are some things that he can work on over the next few months. The grip and the setup is the first thing he's got to do, and then everything else we're going to talk about here is what he can work on over the next few months in order to get that swing so much more consistent and to perform better for him. So the first thing I'd recommend him to do is to work on his takeaway. So we got to get that takeaway to feel like a putting stroke. What we're trying to do is just basically get the hands out of the way of the body so that he can then set the club and turn to the top. So what I recommend he does, he really feels like it's a putting stroke. So he's very much using his shoulders and arms to rock like this until he gets the hands just outside the leg. We don't want to see that the hands are getting engaged, the wrists are getting engaged. We don't want to leave the club behind too much. A lot of people try and do this by forcing the hands back, the club gets behind. What we want to see is very much just a putting stroke to there. That's his takeaway. You can see that the club stays outside the hands, the club face stays square, very much just trying to point it at that golf ball as best as we can. And this is just a great position because now he can then start to work on his wrist set, which is going to give him that connection with the right arm. Really want to set that club. The club face is still square because of his grip, his opposite forces grip. Really feeling that the wrists are setting and that the right arm is coming in and connecting to that rib cage, okay? That's what we want to see, that's connection. So here, set, and we're going to then encourage a little bit of turn with the hip. So here and there, okay? Then he can get into like a halfway position where he can start to sequence. So the first thing he's got to do when it comes to working on the swing is work on 1, 2, okay? As the set comes, we start to turn. The hip starts to turn and the body starts to rotate, okay? That gets him into this nice halfway position. So I'd recommend he goes 1, 2, do that a couple times, 1, 2, and then once he has a good feel for that, he can do it all at once. There, okay? Getting into that really nice connected position halfway back. And that's what's going to be really help this guy hit so much better, so much more consistent shots. So what I'd recommend he does is go to here and then hit. So there. And really making sure on that follow through that he's extending forward. So it's very much just a 9 to 3 drill. If you imagine a clock face, we got 6, we got 12 as you look at me. 9 to 3, just trying to get the hands to go to 9 to 3. So it's 9 through to 3. He's going to start to hit the ball really well with that as well. So once he's really started to get a good feel for going 9 to 3 and extending through with his chest facing the target, his belt buckle facing the target, and his foot right up on the toe with the sole of the foot facing towards the back camera, then he can start to build the swing further. But this is probably going to be a couple of weeks of working on 9 to 3 on the range, just working on really getting extended through. The club's staying well on plane on the way back. Makes it much easier for him to strike it on the way through. Then once he's done that for a few weeks, even though he's going to practice that way in the range, he can still go to the golf course and feel a natural swing. I still would recommend just practicing 9 to 3 on the range, and then when it comes to actually hitting balls in the golf course, he just feels his natural swing. And we know that those little moves that he's working on will start to feed into the real swing, and then eventually over time that'll start to become the move that he makes, and then he can start to work further on the rest of the backswing and really working on the power and the sequencing on the way down. So then once he's got a real good grasp of going 9 to 3 and getting nice consistent contact, seeing that ball fly a lot straighter and a lot more penetrating, then he can start to work on the top of the backswing. So after a couple of weeks of 9 to 3, then start to work on extending to the top. So once he's in this halfway position, the feel here is to get the chest to rotate further, but also to extend upward, rather than what a lot of amateur golfers do is feel that the arms get them up to the top. That's then going to disconnect the arms, which is going to mean that a manipulation has to happen to reconnect the arms in the downswing, and that's just bringing in timing, impeccable timing, and inconsistencies, because you're really relying on your arms to time this for you. It's quite hard to do. Whereas if I feel as though the body extends to the top, I keep that connection, then from there I'm in a really good position to be able to learn the sequencing of the downswing. So you can see how we're piecing this together. We've started with fundamentals, we've got him in from takeaway into a nice halfway position, feeling the strike from there, and now he can start to feel extension to the top And again, that leads into the next part, which is our transition, feeling the lower body go first, getting that correct kinetic sequence so that he can time and create a lot of power in the downswing so much better. So we're going, once he's in that halfway position, extending the chest to the top. The feel here is almost like just looking up behind you. If I was going to look up to something behind me there, that's what the chest is going to do. Really trying our best not to let the arms get independent. It's quite hard to do. I mean, I still watch my swing and I see that even though I'm trying to extend my chest, my arms still get a little bit out on their own. But as long as it's not crazy amount where we lose all of our connection, then it's going to be okay. You can just keep working on it. So 1, 2, and then extend to the top. This is the position you'd work on. So again, I would recommend going to there, starting off by breaking it down. So he's there, extend, and through. And then hit some shots like that as well. So he's going to go here, extend, and through. Caught that one a little heavy. So let me try that again. Now it is quite difficult to time, but that is great because he's going to be in a great position. If he can learn to hit it from this nice chest extended position with arms connected, then he's going to be really enjoying his golf so much more. A lot more consistency. So let me try that again. So we go halfway, extend, there we go, and through. And that pausing in those positions is going to really help his awareness of where he needs to be. Okay, so he's able to stop in the position that he thinks it should be. He does use cameras, so he's got to get the camera out. He's got to be filming his swing, his practice swings, to make sure everything's in the right positions. That's what's going to really help him develop this swing. So after then a couple of weeks of working on here and through, then he's going to be able to start working on that downswing. And so what I would recommend for Ty to start to feel in the downswing is, once he's got a good grasp of the position he wants at the top, is to then understand the sequence. So the energy is going to come from the ground. We're going to use our feet, our legs, into the upper body, into the shoulders, the arms, into the hands, into the shaft, then into the club head. That is the sequence of movement, okay? So once he's at the top, what we want to start to see from him is that he can start to move pressure in his feet to his lead foot. Also start to see that the hips start to rotate back to where they were at setup, but it's very important that we see that pressure move. So it's almost moving to the left and also rotating. So it's that kind of move there. It's also going to move down a little bit. So we've got lateral, we've got downward movement, and we've got rotational. But the best way for him to feel that is to feel that he's pushing down into this foot, okay? So it's down, and then he can extend through. So the sequence is going to be there, and then he's going to push off this foot and release the club down, release the arms, club will get released, and he can put maximum speed into the shot. So he's got this position here, there. So that's a really good way to break it up. And again, it's all body here. There's at no time are we really getting the arms independent, or the hands, and that's what's going to be key for consistency. So he's in that extended position, pushing the pressure across, letting the hips rotate into this position. You can see that's a nice natural shallow as well. And then from here, it's rotating the hips, extending up with the legs, and that'll throw the arms down, okay? Here and through. And again, I'd recommend him hitting shots like that to really build that feel as he practices. So he's into that position, here, there. It's not easy, but if you can learn to hit the ball like that when you're kind of halfway into your downswing, then you can hit it in a full shot with full motion. Really good stopping drills throughout the swing are going to really help get him into those positions, feel what he needs to feel in each position, so that then when it comes to bringing it to the full shot, he's going to be able to do that. So let's try and put this all together. So we've got the grip, we've got the setup, balancing the balls of the feet. He's then going to be working into takeaway, setting the club halfway, extending to the top, feeling that pressure shift, going down, and then up and release through to that extended position that he was working on very early on when we worked on the 9-3 drill. So that's everything coming together. So let's try and put that into a full shot. Nice little draw. So that's the sequence of events that Ty needs to go through in order to start to work on his golf swing. That's probably about 2 or 3 months worth of work, depending on how often he can put the practice in and how hard he practices. But that would be the sequence. So Ty, if you're watching, I would recommend that you go through that, watch this video over and over, starting with your fundamentals, then working on 9 to 3, then working on extending to the top, then working on your correct sequence in the downswing. And if you go through that, I can guarantee you're going to play great golf just working on those things. Those moves are absolutely essential for you to play consistent golf and hit the ball so much further and enjoy this game so much more. And my club just broke. Came right off. You know, that's never happened to me, and that's the second time that's happened to me in about 2 months. Let's try that again. Switch it to the 9-iron. Okay guys, so thanks for watching. Hopefully the insight on Ty's swing and how the fundamentals are actually going to help him start to build his golf swing out, and how influential those fundamentals are on the swing and the moves that he needs to work on. Hopefully that helps you understand exactly why fundamentals are at the baseline of every golf swing and are so important. So if you're new here, please subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. And again, if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming in. Your support is very much appreciated here. If you guys want to learn how to unlock your golf swing a whole lot quicker this off season, I've created a course that goes over 10 videos going from fundamentals all the way through the golf swing, and 8 bonus videos which are drills that are going to help you build your swing. The price of it is less than a box of Pro Vs, and to be honest with you, you're going to lose a whole lot less Pro Vs if you can really start to master this swing. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description for you to check out, and hopefully I'll see you on the inside. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.